Throughout my 7 years of Roblox, I've come across a lot of games. Some alright, some fantastic, and some I've likely put a few hundred hours into. But I'm not here to talk about those games. Right now, I'm here to talk about one game. One game that has stood above the rest. One game that has arguably some of the most effort put into a game I've ever seen on Roblox. Especially with a team of... What? What did you say? Do I actually have the right script? Especially with a team of 2 main devs. That is not an exaggeration. 2 main devs doing the coding, modeling, composition, set dressing, bug squashing, merch, designing, drawing, animation, and writing, all under the pretense of only getting paid through Roblox avatar items, revives purchased, and all of the Screech plushies. The bar for Roblox horror has been insanely raised. But honestly, that might not really be a difficult task. Still, the amount of work that, again, 2 devs have been putting into this entire package is not a single thing to sneeze at. Now, technically, I have been telling a tiny white lie. There have been 2 others who have assisted with Dora's development, those being Ghostly Wowzers and Jasper Creations. Wowzer's involvement with Dora's development is being a 2D spriter, responsible for making Ambush, Jack, Rush, and an unknown 4th entity who seems to appear in the grandfather clocks. No clue why, probably a teaser for Chapter 2, but nevertheless, Wowzers himself confirmed it is a separate entity to Rush. Moving swiftly onto Jasper, it seems they've just been brought on with the new Hotel Plus update, being the one to reanimate Seek and Figure during their intro cutscenes, and we'll get to them later. Jasper doesn't have much other to do with Doors, but they have worked as the head dev for Untitled Tag Game, and as co-developer in Nico's Next Bots, a game with a fantastically easy to abuse B-hop system. Silly Gmod PNGs. Doors was released only 6 months ago at the time of writing this. On August 10th, 2022, it was released to an explosion of popularity. Eventually, everyone got in on the game. Big names like DanTDM and 8-Bit Ryan, too many Twitch streamers to even list, and even my friend Dags made a video on it only about a month ago and lodged it in with 2 other awful to semi-okay Roblox horror games. Back to Doors, it was a smash hit in Roblox, and it even got to the front page, where it has remained there. Ever since it blew up, it hasn't really stopped sitting on the front page. If that's not a testament to how cool this game is, I don't know what would be. Doors gameplay loop seems simple at first, just go through doors to 100. However, sprinkled through the hotel are enemies that will try to kill you. Only 4 entities will not attempt your murder, and 3 of them were just released with Hotel Plus. We'll approach them in due time, but needless to say, this isn't just a walking simulator. I would understand if you thought so, however, due to how pretty this game is. Even on release day, it looked gorgeous, and you'd be understood if you thought it was just graphics. Like the whole thing was just about how pretty it was. Thankfully, that's not the case. Meandering through the various rooms, you can find stuff like money, flashlights, lockpicks, lighters, keys, and other various items that can help you through your journey to door 100. To start off with the entity talk, let's bring on one of the most common entities you'll experience throughout every run. Rush is a smoke cloud with a face inside of it and is dumb as a rock. To start his attack off, when a room spawns, you may see the lights flicker. Afterwards, you'll have around 10 seconds max to hide in a closet, to which he shows his slimy little face for a bit before opening the door for you and leaving. Not before he puts out every light in the room though, cause why not? Now, I'm so harsh of Rush just due to how easy he is. The only challenge comes from your freaking friends stealing the closet right next to you with nowhere to hide yourself. Thank you, Sarah Rath, you truly heightened my experience. Now, granted, Rush was never intended to be difficult. Being one of the first entities you even see, you'll need to figure out what to do quickly, and so, with your only options being to hide, you do so, with success. It's good game design, but after you know what to do, every run afterwards with Rush just becomes an annoyance. A loud one. Ambush is a variant of Rush that's able to spawn at any time he pleases, with no indication he's there other than his ear-piercingly loud approach noise that can be heard from about 8 rooms away. Similarly to Rush, you'll have about 10 seconds max to hide in a closet. However, instead of simply leaving after passing you, Ambush wraps around your room, sometimes even up to 6 times, before he leaves the way he came. Intertwined with this mechanic is the next entity. Hide is an entity that you never truly see, but you do see his effects. If you're to stay in a closet for an extended period of time, Hide will start telling you to get the heck out of his closet, before eventually kicking you out, taking some health away. The way he's intertwined with Ambush is that you can't stay inside the closet the whole time. If Ambush shows his face, you'll have to leave and re-enter your closet for every time he loops. Now, Hide really only benefits Ambush, and to an extent Rush if you're to get in the closet too early. Some floors he doesn't even show up at all, and you'll see why in due time. For now though, let's move on to the most annoying, divisive, hate to love, love to hate in the fandom entities. Screech is a little ball of black tar and a mouth that bites you if you don't give it attention. How Screech works is if you're in a dark room without a light source, Screech has the likely chance to spawn and almost yell at you, before actually yelling at you. His sound cue is a weirdly loud whisper, psst, at which point you need to bolt your mouse around to attempt finding Screech, and in return, a direct gaze sends him to Salt Lake City, Utah, where he's forced to live out his days as a Mexican cartel member guard, scaring off all the other gangs due to fear of the little devil that the other gang has summoned. None of that is true, he just leaves after yelling at you. Now, to directly contrast this ball of vocal cords, we have Eyes is an entity who has a random chance of spawning every time you open a door, making a sound cue indicating you have a very limited time window to look away from him and keep your eyes off him. Sorry. He emits a purple light into the room, giving you a good sense of where not to look while traversing. He technically has his own song, though it's more of an ambience included with him spawning. Here, take a listen. Sounds like Jack Stober fell asleep on his keyboard. Actually, speaking of Jack is a kinda rare entity that can appear when attempting to enter a closet. He's not super ultra mega difficult to find, being a 1 in 20 chance you find him in the closet. However, to get him in a door, you need to beat the game 200 times. That's right, jackdoors exist, but only with a 1 in 2,000 chance. During Jack's intervention, he either spooks you out of entering a closet, or scares you as a door opens and the room turns dark red for a few seconds, and then it returns to normal. Hey, speaking of stupid chances, Shadow, unlike Jack, has a very, very low chance of spawning, and is super ultra mega difficult to find. However, Shadow doesn't do much. All he does is just show up for a bit if you happen to be looking in the middle of the room. He has a 1 in 2,000 chance, quite similar to Jack's door. And yeah, I know, he's just as common as a Jack door, but the difference is that Jack can still appear much easier than Shadow can. Meaning, technically, Shadow is the rarest entity. Honestly, Shadow is pretty boring though. Let's talk about one of the smallest entities in the hotel. Timothy is a small little green-eyed spider who makes his presence known randomly throughout any drawers you may open. He has about a 1 in 200 chance of spawning whenever you open a drawer, and if he does, he makes a horror movie stinger noise as well as jumping on your face. Thankfully, all the arachnophobes only deal with him for a sec, as after a little under 2 seconds, he slides off your screen, leaving you 5 health down. Now finally, we can move on to the big boy entities, the ones who only show up twice every run, and the most difficult entities facing you in this hotel. Seek is an involved bendy ink searcher. Not really, he's just very inky and sticky. Around door 20-ish, Seek makes his presence known by flickering the lights and sticking little eyes onto the walls, with those same eyes popping up on your screen and infesting the paintings. Also, apparently we play as the Simon Cowell of art and call Seek's spooky landscape not a painting. Rude. Anyways, around door 28 to 35, along and your camera pans back to find Seek, climbing out of his shiny, inky abyss and full-on sprinting towards you at his fastest speed, making heavy footstep noises as he does. Your task during his chases are to avoid furniture and going the right way during intersections, achieved with a simple street cross tactic, and seeing which door has blue sparkles. If neither of them do, you need to go all the way to the front, where blue sparkles await you there. During the last room of his chase, giant splotchy hands break through the windows, knocking chandeliers onto the floor and causing fires to start, of which you need to avoid all of it. Afterwards, a door closes on Seek, and we press onwards into the next rooms. Thankfully, you have about a 20-room break from any important entities coming your way. Afterwards, well, Figure is an entity who will always spawn on the 50th and 100th floor, but for now we'll focus on the 50th. When you enter the 49th floor, you see a reception desk and a few bookcases, all with scratch marks and clear signs of alcoholism, being everything has some kind of damage. Sitting directly across from the desk are two faded gold trim fancy doors, and when we open them, we're introduced to the Demogorgon Meatwad himself. After a second or two, it's revealed that Figure is incredibly tall. However, has one fatal flaw, an immunity from reading. He obviously has no eyes, meaning he is entirely echolocating. Echolocate these legs when they're crouched, you 8'9" ball of ground beef. Figure has a pretty consistent walking path, that being he walks over to the lamp, then walks upstairs, then back down to the lamp repeatedly. Sometimes he does walk down the hall directly across from the staircase, but that happens much less than his standard path. However, if you decide you want to be a bit faster and walk without crouching, he will hear and proceed to investigate. Best part is, you can't run away without being crouched, otherwise you'll be stuck in a chase scene that, depending on how much progress you've made in the library, can either be painfully slow or deadly. Speaking of, how you progress in the library is you find books that are sticking out from their respective shelves, making a sparkling sound along with it to indicate that there's a book nearby. Now, what are these books for? Well, there's another desk near the big window in this room with a piece of paper on it. On said paper are 5 randomly ordered shapes, which don't make any sense until you pick up enough books. Once you have enough, you can correspond shapes to numbers that were inside the books collected. And from that, you gather the 5-digit code that unlocks the escape door. If you decided the only way to get out of a chase scene from Figure was to hide in a closet, you'd be kinda right. It does, indeed, keep you safe from Figure, along with the fact that hide isn't on this floor. That means you can stay there for as long as you want. But if Figure gets close, you get put into a little rhythm game that corresponds to your breathing. Oh, sorry, I apologize, it's your heartbeat. No, wait, but guiding light refers to it as your breathing, but the game has a heart as its hit line. I'm just gonna say heartbeat since it seems more obvious, but just know it's, for some reason, inconsistent. Anyways, during the little rhythm game, you have control over 2 sides of your heart. The left side is controlled by either left click or Q, and the right with right click or E. During the game, outlines of either side of the heart start floating over to the real heart, and you must click/press the right button. If you do it successfully, Figure walks away and returns to his standard walk pattern. If you fail too much, you're splattered. Whew, that was a mouthful. Now, we're gonna move on to the Hotel Plus/Friendly Entities section. In the room directly after the library, you're given a safe haven from all entities save for 3. Those being Jeff, the runner of the shop selling 4 separate items, all ranging from 50 coins to 250. Second, El Goblino, certified little dude and sounds like he's doing a Nacho Libre accent in his chat bubbles. Third, Bob. Yeah, Bob's just there. Holding him does nothing. Goblino makes a few passing comments about Bob, but other than that, he's chilling. During the specific room is actually where you can get 2 new Hotel Plus items, being the Crucifix and Skull Key. The Crucifix eliminates almost every entity if you stick it in their faces hard enough, and the Skull Key is used to open a couple secret things. For example, a few rooms after Jeff, the infirmary makes its presence known, and if you walk to the end of the room and look left, you'll see a large door with a skull on it, one of the eyes resembling a keyhole. After using the Skull Key on this door, you'll be granted access to a special little room housing a little plant, a few paintings, and mountains of money. You get more money than the Skull Key costs from this room alone. The key can also be used to open a small chest that can be found in a detour door. Both of these items do also spawn naturally, but they're much less common than stuff like light sources or utilities. Now, to cap off the Friendly Entities section of the Hotel Plus/Friendly Entities section, we'll finally talk about Guiding Light is a character that is never actually seen, only heard after death. Guiding Light is one of the main factors of this game's design, that being the trial and error premise. and tells you hints of how to handle the entities proposed to you. For example, if you were to die to ambush a few times, he'd say to you after you die, "You died to ambush again. It gets to you when you least expect it. It has a unique scream. Once you hear it, be prepared." He may also have a physical statue in the courtyard, but this is only speculation on the side of MatPat. Since there's only about 3 new Hotel Plus NM entities, they'll all be lumped into the same section, similar to Jeff and his compadres. Dupe, a new entity introduced in the update, is meant to trick you into entering its fake door, and if you do so, having about half your health taken away. The only thing about Dupe is he can only use incorrect numbers for the door, so the immediate solution people had is just to remember the door they're on. Simple fix. However, if you're unsure and you have a crucifix, you can throw one into Dupe's room almost like a flashbang. Void, a new entity purely meant to replace Glitch's previous job, helps transport players who have fallen behind from the multiplayer group back to them. It's basically just a void. By the by, before the update, Glitch was meant to serve the purpose of both teleporting rogue players and also fixing any detected door gen errors. Now he's relegated to only the second job, sometimes showing up whenever you enter the 49th room for whatever reason. Finally, snares, a new entity added to the game meant for the greenhouse, are just shrubbery on the floor that will act like a bear trap if you step on them. Given that Rush also spawns much more frequently here, it can be a deadly combo mixing the two. After going through the greenhouse and making it to the more modern metallic design of door 100, we walk up to a bunker door and flick the lever, only to reveal Figure has made it here before us and is now chasing us down the halls. Gates that were previously on the floor rise up, revealing the entire room to the player as they soon figure out that they need to grab 10 fuses from around the area, all while dodging Figure's antics. After collecting all 10 switches and returning them to the power box, the power then returns, causing an electrical fire to start and making Figure panic cartoonishly only to accidentally jump out of a window. One little elevator power puzzle later, and banging and roaring is heard from the door behind us. It seems Figure has made it back up, ready to tear us apart. After a quick sprint upstairs and into the elevator, we end the first floor of doors with a cutscene teasing Chapter 2 to be underground mines. And that caps off this part of Doors. Of course, more chapters will hopefully be released later on, but for now, this is plenty to satisfy. I don't know about you, but I consider this game to be phenomenal. While I was writing the script, I forgot that the game was Roblox up until right at this moment, and I hope that's a testament to how amazingly well this game was made. Of course, I'm not going to spoil everything about this game. There are still other things and secrets you'll be able to find that I haven't talked about, and I implore you to go find them yourself. There's also a good reason that I'm not spoiling everything, and it's because I don't want to strip away all enjoyment you'll get from this game. Having told you how to handle every entity, that just removes all the fun. So I've omitted some information in the hopes that you go out and find it yourself. This game is phenomenal, and I highly suggest that you play it yourself. Watching a video on it is really not the true experience. Thank you for watching, and peace out.